Thank you for coming today. It's not every day that we have a hero come to Elgin High School. We want to welcome someone very special today, Iraq War veteran and former Assistant Secretary of Veteran Affairs. We have Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth. A little about her. In 2004, Duckworth was deployed to Iraq as a Black Hawk helicopter pilot for the Illinois Army National Guard. She was one of the first Army women to combat missions during the Operation Iraqi Freedom until her helicopter was hit by an RPG on November 12, 2004. Duckworth lost her legs and partial use of her right arm in the explosion and was awarded a Purple Heart for her combat injuries. Duckworth ran for Congress in 2014 to advocate for the practical solutions and cooperation needed to rebuild our economy, ensure that every American has the ability to achieve the American dream. She now lives in Hoffman Estates with her husband Brian, an Army major. And Duckworth declined a military medical retirement and continues to drill as a lieutenant colonel in the Illinois Army National Guard. So put your hands together for someone very special.
Thank you. Well, it's great to be here, and I am so proud of the work that you've done and to be able to join you this morning. You know, preserving and protecting our environment and waterways needs to be a top national priority. And even though you started off with the passenger pigeon, it's important that you're continuing that work beyond what has happened historically. And in fact, if you look around the world at where things are going in terms of global conflict, a lot of them have to do with loss of water resources or loss of biodiversity. Look to Somalia, for example, where you have the Somali pirates, the rise of piracy. A big chunk of that is because the fishing stocks off of the coast of Somalia, where the Somali fishermen traditionally have gained their livelihood, have been devastated. And from overfishing, not necessarily from the Somalis who use traditional fishing methods, but actually from European and foreign fleets going into those waters and overfishing the fish stocks. And so these fishermen have nothing else to do, and they're trying to take care of their families. And so the only other option for them is to join the pirates, and that's where you get a rise in piracy that's really threatening trade routes and security in that whole region. So you may think about one type of one species being devastated, but you really have to think about it in a larger picture of what this does for geopolitical stability, or for you know, the involvement of our nation on the global stage. So something that starts off with the passenger pigeon, which was vital during World War I, can lead to the studies that you're going to be doing well into the future on biodiversity and protecting our environment. So I'm so proud of what you're doing, and I, thank you for thinking about our global habitat and the responsibility that we all have to ensure its survival. Creating a sustainable world isn't just important to us. It's also important for future generations. And I know people talk to you guys, you are the future generation, but there are generations to come beyond you. And if we don't stop global warming, we don't reverse some of the things that we've been doing, we're going to end up with a world where you have huge droughts across the globe, which then leads to population migrations into areas that they don't normally live in, which leads to greater conflict. It can also lead to, you see here in Illinois, last year we had the highest levels of snowfall in, many, many years. But just a couple years before that, we had one of the biggest droughts, and we lost 50% of our corn crop. And so stabilizing the environment, making sure that we take care of the earth and where we live is important, not just because we don't want to lose any more species, but it's important for our own survival as a species on this planet. So I just wanted to maybe open the floor up to some questions if you have any questions. But I think that for you to have chosen to protect the environment, protect our world, protect our state is really critical. And I hope some of you move on into careers when you go off to college to study those things. When I went to school, I went to University of Hawaii, great school, by the way. got an A in surfing and hula. You can actually take hula as a class and get 2 credits for it. At University of Hawaii. But I went there because I wanted to study marine biology. And I was doing really well until my junior year when I could not pass biochemistry to save. When I got a C, I took it over, I got another C, and I realized I wasn't smart enough for that. So I went into the social sciences where I was really very good at. But I still have the passion and a love for marine biology and for the oceans. And I hope some of you pursue the passions that you're getting out of this class and the work that you're doing with the passenger pigeon to go on to work on issues of biodiversity, biology, environment, things that will help to not just protect the environment, but also build the strength of this nation. And if you think about all the careers that are out there, there's so many non-traditional careers that you can get into that would be great. So hopefully some of you would do that. And if anybody wants to go to the University of Hawaii, I'm happy to talk to you about it. Great school. A lot of kids from the mainland actually flunk out of that school because they show up and then they just go to the beach every day and they don't realize it's actually a tough school. You know, but I can help talk you folks into it. I'm really good at that. But I want to make you aware of, we did a little something for you in the congressional record. You want to unwrap it real quick? In the congressional record, so everything that's said on the floor of Congress goes into the permanent record of the United States of America. And copies of it are sent into the National Archives and reside permanently in the National Archives. So, and then also copies of it are sent into archives all across the nation. And we sent in to the congressional record of the House of Representatives a commemoration of the centenary of the passenger pigeon's extinction and the passenger pigeon project from Elgin High School. So you are now permanently in the congressional record, the National Archives of the United States. And it talks about the passenger pigeon. I'm not going to sort of go through all of the whereas of this, but that we talk about the project Passenger Pigeon, a consortium of over 150 institutions, scientists, conservationists, educators, artists, musicians, filmmakers, and others throughout the nation is using the centenary of the species extinction to tell the story and to preserve its memory forever. So this is permanently in the congressional record, and this is a certificate that talks about the work that you've done. And I just wanted to bring you this and thank you for the hard work, because I know it was a lot of hard work, and that you guys really took the initiative and led a lot of other schools across the country in the work that's happening this morning. So with that, I'd like to present it to your rep, to Sarah. Here you go. You're welcome. Thank you. Huh?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, you should be very proud. So if Nicolas Cage does another movie, National Treasure, and he's got to go steal something, maybe he'll steal your passenger pigeon plaque from the National Archives in Washington, D.C. But if you ever go to D.C., you can look it up. It'll be permanently in the nation's permanent record, the work that you've done here. And I just, I think that it's great that you're doing that, but I also want to make sure you know about all of the other science, engineering, and all the STEM things that we're doing. I actually this past year introduced a national robotics competition bill. Hopefully it'll pass in the next several months. But the United States Congress every year does an arts competition. I don't know if some of you have heard of that, but we get out of every congressional district we select one winner, and that person I fly out at my expense to Washington, D.C. to see their artwork hanging in the halls of Congress. And you get to visit Washington and come back. But I propose a robotics competition this year. So in July I put in that bill. And if you remember how a bill becomes a law, hopefully it'll become a law soon, and we'll have a national robotics competition. And hopefully some of you will be able to participate in that. I don't know how many seniors we have, but it would happen next year. And that would be a lot of fun, I think. There's some great teams here in the district. We've got the science chicks that are out there, and some good folks who are interested in underwater robotics and all sorts of things. And all of these tie into each other, because if you're studying these species that are on the verge of extinction, you need to be able to go to where they are and find them. And so hopefully robotics will be part of a new way that we can reach out into remote areas to observe diversity and biodiversity in ways that we've never been able to access them before. So with that, thank you so much for letting me be here. Thank you for your very hard work, leading your colleagues around the country in the work that's happening this morning. And I would love to answer any questions if there are any questions. You can ask me about anything. I know you're going to seem shy at first, and I know it's not a shy bunch. You're just being quiet, and this is like second period or third period right now. You're probably still kind of hungover from sleep. They say that high schoolers really should start school a little later because it's hard for you guys to get started. You need more sleep, and I'm all on board, but I can't pass a law on that, so sorry. But are there any questions?
Wanted to get you guys rolling, and you only have to have one.
Did Aaron just get a call? Yeah.
Question. So thank you for your explanation about the piracy in Somalia and how that links to the overfishing. And I never heard of that. I never even thought about that. That makes a lot of sense. Why do you not hear that narrative? Why is that something that isn't widely known, it seems like?
Yeah, because, the piracy itself starts with a criminal element, but they're recruiting people because those fishermen have nothing else to do. And so people focus on the piracy, and to be honest, it's a lot sexier to make a movie about pirates than it is to make a movie about